There are lots of good sentences in the contract.
Since Nikki wrote it, she thinks so, but it
Yeah.
does say that the contract is contingent upon the county establishing a municipal service benefit unit or municipal service taxing unit for the special purpose of fully funding the purchase of the property described on or before July 27, 2016, and there being no challenges to said MSBU, MSTU prior to closing.
Yeah, that I'm okay with.
Mr. Mariano?
Yeah, one of the things I'm concerned as far as the negotiation with Swiftmud. I mean, with Timber Oaks, we paid more money for the property than it was probably worth, and we get less money. I was okay with this, the residents knew that they were going to take an extra burden on for it, but this is like a flip of that. If anything, we should be trying to get more money because of the permits that they've issued. It's actually jacked the price up higher. So at a minimum, we should be at 50-50. I think we're in a position to even go up stronger because they're putting us in the position, especially if we're going to take over the responsibility of the pumps to make sure we're keeping the whole region safer. So I think we should be in a stronger negotiation position to move forward with it.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Moore?
And I feel good about the conversations I had with the executive board member from Swiftmud too. You know, and it goes back to, again, you talked about it briefly, I think both of you just did, but about the appraised values. It seems that ours typically come in higher than others, and I think they're, yes, didn't Swiftmud? Yeah. Theirs came in more at the 1.1 mark, which I think one of our, we had a spread of what, 1.3 and 1.8?
We had two appraisals. Would you like me to speak to them?
Please go through the appraisal details.
So
Is that in the slides here?
we had what? Oh, there's a PowerPoint slide
Right.
that shows the numbers, but basically we had two appraisals. The first appraisal was for the main golf course, which is 131.27 acres. The first appraisal valued the 131.27 acres to be $1.1 million. The second appraisal valued the 131.27 acres to be $1 million. In addition to that, in addition to those values, now the 131.27 acres is parcels A, B, and D. So it's a little bit confusing because of all the different ownerships, and of course each ownership had to have its own contract. But basically A, B, and D are the main golf course. D also includes a small residential lot on which they had an irrigation pump. Not the pumps we're talking about, but a small irrigation pump, and that's included in the purchase. And the appraised value for that parcel is based on the property appraiser's value of $5,491. In addition to the main golf course, the second appraisal also valued the driving range. The driving range is 8.32 acres. Now that's a significantly different piece of property than the main golf course. It's very developable. It received a preliminary site plan approval from the county for 74 units. So the development potential on that property is very high. That is also the property that currently has a Swiftmud permit for surface water management system to support the 74 units. That value came in at $705,000. In addition to those two appraisals, we also have the pump house, which we simply valued at $1, and the commercial 5 acres, which is on Rowan Road. Just looking at the property appraiser's value is $40,136. Now, what I also found interesting was in 2014, the property appraiser had the 131.27 acres valued at a total of $1,015,507. So our appraisals were right in line with the property appraiser's market value of 2014.
And who sells their property for the property appraiser's value? Not me. Not me.
There was a drop in 2015, I don't know exactly what those numbers are for 2015, and I didn't have the opportunity to explore with the property appraiser why those numbers came down in 2015.
Earlier today, we sold a piece of property on 54 in Wesley Chapel for significantly more than the appraised values or the appraised prices that came in.
So if you were to total the appraised values and include the property appraiser's value for commercial 5 acres, going with a lower appraisal, it comes to $1,753,940. The contract amount is $1,008,000. If you were to go with the county's first appraisal on that 131.27 acres, you would have a total of $1,853,940. So the contract amount would actually come in lower than our appraisals. I'd like to point out a couple of minor changes to the contract, which is why I redistributed this morning. The sellers asked if they can select the closing agent, and since they are paying for the title insurance under these contracts, and we generally allow that to happen depending on who they want to choose. We're comfortable. I was comfortable personally with who they wanted to choose, and so they had scratched that out and changed from buyer to seller. So that's noted in the amended memorandum. And also, the first round of contracts that went out had a, if you look at the next to the last column, the first round of contracts had a value of $24,999 for D, which was the maintenance building. Our appraisal has that maintenance building. That's not the cart building. That's a maintenance building kind of further away from the clubhouse. Our appraiser felt that it really just needed to be torn down. The value of the building is offset by the cost to tear it down, and therefore they gave it a 0 value. So our first round of contracts had the $24,999 and then the $25,000 on the commercial 5 acres. The second round of contracts came back with a $999 value on that parcel, and the $49,000 for the commercial.
I
So that's
personally
the change.
And we were talking about selling the property up in the Hudson area for the new stormwater facility, right? And you're talking about moving it possibly to here, or is that a different one that you're talking about moving to here?
So the Nottingham parcel was purchased to provide a public works facility, emergency operations facility for both road and bridge and stormwater operations. We are talking about selling that project. The board has not told us where you wish to put those proceeds. In this instance, we have looked at the potential, because we still need a west side operations facility. We're wasting a tremendous amount of time and fuel going all the way to Shady Hills in order to service West Pasco. And our employees are living in substandard mobile homes for their effort. We have talked about renovating, which is why I feel comfortable recommending to the board that we purchase the driving range, that we contribute about $900,000 from the Road and Bridge Fund for the driving range in the clubhouse, because I do believe that in the future we could renovate that and move west side operations from Shady Hills to here. There will be a cost for that renovation, which we have not finished calculating yet, nor have we funded yet. But I do think that this is a much better location for west side operations than Shady Hills.
Commissioner Mariano.
I concur with that. Matter of fact, I was thinking about that as we were looking at this agenda item before I even saw it, and I says, this could be a real boon. With all the land that's out there, we need to create more storage anyway. You could actually pull a lot of the dirt from the back, pull it up around the whole building itself, so everything could be high and dry like Mike likes it. You could put berms around the front, around with the driving ranges up front, so people wouldn't see everything that's in the back. It kind of protect it nice, so the people would know that actually the stormwater team is right there, so if there is something going on, I think they'd even have more comfort knowing that those guys were real close by. Being close to the facilities here, I think, is a big advantage. And as I know it, the building was in pretty good shape. I mean, maybe there's a roof leak or whatever, but you could actually walk in there and use it for right now and work our way into what we need to do later. So that is definitely an extra benefit. I think that's huge.
Commissioner Mariano, I feel I need to ask you, though, this is going to require potentially an MSBU. Are you going to be supportive of an MSBU?
We did one at Timber Oaks. We did one at Oaks at Riverside, and I think this one's appropriate as well.
Okay.
and the residents are aware, we're just not sure what scope there would be an MSBU, but they absolutely, I mean, for any of you who haven't been out there, I mean, it's backed up so bad right now, it's getting ready to come in a couple of houses, and we haven't even got rainy season yet, so something has to be done, and the reason I delayed this a little bit was to meet with Swift Mud, just to kind of get some answers, but this needs to be done, so again, I appreciate the support on this. I know the residents do as well, because
You want to make a motion then?
it's needed. Can I make a motion for R9 and R9 and R13?
I think you
Staff's
can.
recommendation?
I think you can include the budget amendment within your main motion.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great. Okay.
And the last library meeting, just to say, Commissioner Wells did get quite a bit of time with the residents in Magnolia Valley.
Yes, they were aware.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went to the wrong library there.
Yeah, one interesting point too that was kind of scary, that I saw mosquito control had sent a letter, I think we all got it, seeing that water flowing back
Yes.
too, that was a little scary.
So Commissioners, before you move on to the next item, I have had staff do some preliminary calculations on BU, TU calculations, and so we will move forward with the process of putting that BU forward as we go forward, so that that's ready before you go to closing.